Welcome friends and family to our hive. As you know from our previous videos, Brian and I are getting married July 8th of 2021. So due to budget restrictions, I'm planning our wedding myself. And this is going to be my first DIY project for that. So today I went to Dollar Tree and picked up two of these dollar frames. I got this idea from Pinterest on how you can make signs with them. A lot of the videos just show just the glass in the frame and they write their message on top of it, tracing it. I've also seen other ones where it's just a black drop and, you know, they decorate the frame and write what they need to on their sign. But I'm going to do something a little bit different that I haven't seen, just because I'm not the type to follow in what everybody else is doing. I also have my different tastes and a different theme too. So we're doing bohemian theme. So my plan for these is to paint these gold, and then I'm going to put a backdrop on them, actually on that foam board right there, and put some fabric on it, paint the frame, and then write my message. I'm also going to do some florals around it later. I'll make a different video for that. But yeah, so here we are. I went to the Dollar Tree, picked these up, and those to hold the frames. I'm going to put one frame on our gift table, one frame on our guest table, and then there's going to be a frame for the reception and a frame for seating. Later on we're going to do our welcome sign. That's a totally different approach, but I'll make a video for that. And I also picked up some stuff from Joann's. So I got those two frames and those two holders and the board from the Dollar Tree for $5. And then I went to Joann's and got this fabric. I got enough for both of these frames. And normally it would have been $25 for this amount of fabric in this fabric. But we picked it up for $5. They had a sale today. And also they are doing this deal where if you buy something, you get something free. So we ended up picking up this for free. And these two frames ended up being free. So the only thing I paid for is this. And oh yes, this was free too. It's an adhesive for the fabric. And then I also picked up a little sponge thing to paint these frames with this gold. And then this is the paint marker that I'm going to use to write our message for each sign. So overall for everything I only paid $18. And yeah, let's get started.
If you wanted to fly to space, you know that I would never hesitate. Wherever you go, take me with you. If you wanted to leave dry land with nothing but the clothes on our back.
So here are both of my completed frames that I chose to do in this gray finish with this fabric. You guys, this has been super easy, super fast. It's absolutely beautiful and it's so cheap. Like, I cannot believe how great this came out and how inexpensive. Super excited about it. It's so beautiful. I don't know if you could tell with the sequins, but they're very sparkly. They're gonna look great in the sun on those tables next July. So my last and final step is to trace with the template I typed up on Word what I want it to say with my paint markers on top of the glass. And yep, that will be our last and final step. So let's get to it. So I just started a very, very small portion of this frame with the gold. I just wanted to show you how I'm texturing it with this sponge. I'm just going along and kind of dabbing it with the sponge brush to give it full coverage, but also add kind of like a cool textured look to it, kind of like a hammered metal look. Gonna probably have to let it dry and go over it another time, but let me get through the rest of it and I'll show you what the first layer looks like. Okay, so here's the frame. I just finished the second layer on it, which I think it turned out really good. It still has some areas to dry, like right in here. But it turned out perfect the way I want it for my wedding, and yeah, not bad for a dollar upscale dollar store frame. I just love the way it looks hammered. You cannot get a better deal for something like this anywhere, and it's gonna look really amazing once it's done. I'm super excited. So here are my completed wedding table signs. This is my first wedding DIY project. So in the first video I started with just this fabric, but it only ended up being enough for those two frames. So I went back another time and got more fabric for that frame and then these two. I was originally going to put some greenery alongside the corners, you know, kind of asymmetrical of each other, but I decided that since I'm going to be putting greenery garland on the tables, that I like them as is. It's simple but elegant, and it was super cheap. For everything here on the table, I ended up only paying $22 for, and that's just the supplies to make it. So I think I did a really good job at Joann's and Dollar Tree. But yeah, so here's the signs. The first one says, "Message in a bottle, write it, roll it, slip it, for us to read on our first anniversary." So our guests, this is going to be on our guest book table, and instead of having a guest book, we're going to do the message in a bottle for, you know, us to read little notes from our guests that attended on our first wedding anniversary. And then this is just one of my favorite Bible verses. "Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay," from Ruth 1:16. And then, well, here's the platter that I had done. I picked this up from Dollar Tree. This was $1 and that was $1. I just literally glued this candlestick under here to make a pretty platter to put. I'm gonna roll some paper and fill it with dried flowers, probably lavender, to throw at the wedding. But here's the other frames. This says, "Let the sparks fly, light the way for Sandra and Brian at 8. This is going to be for the reception. We're going to have a table with favors on it, and for people to grab some sparklers to light our way as we leave. And then these are for the ceremony. This says, "Pick a seat, not a side. You are loved equally by the groom and his bride." And then this is just, you know, going over our desires for our ceremony being unplugged. So it just says, "Welcome to our unplugged ceremony. Kindly turn off all phones and cameras." We're going to be spending quite a bit of money on, you know, photography and video for our wedding. So I want to make sure that everybody's going to not be on their phones. Why spend a bunch of money on a photographer to have him taking pictures of people on their phones? And we want them to fully be present for it as well. But yep, here it is. First wedding DIYs. Yay!
Wherever you go,